Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Now what I thought I'd talk about today is something that everybody's had the opportunity to do over the past few weeks, and that is looking at locations for photo shoots or just for photography in general. Now over the years I've built up quite a catalogue of go-to locations in places that I shoot a lot, so places like Sheffield, Manchester, Leeds. But today I'm going to talk about if you are going to an area that you've not shot at before or one that you're just not too familiar with, and how to make sure that when you do go there, you're armed with a set of locations that you know are going to work for you. Now this tends to be a four-step process. So you've got researching the area, finding inspiration in the area, using Google Earth and Google Street View, and then finally scouting in person. Now the example that I'm going to use today to show all four of these is when I recently went to New York. So when I went to New York, I actually arranged with a model that I know that's moved out there, Georgia, and we arranged to shoot whilst I was out there. Now, having been to New York before, but never having shot there, I had to put all of these tips into practice to make sure that with the limited time that we had, we got everything that we wanted. Also, little plug, if you've not seen my New York video yet, it will be up at the top and also down in the description as well. So little plug there, make sure you go and check that out after this video. So first up is researching the area. Now this is quite a quick and easy step, but it's a very important one, and this is looking at if there are any restrictions in place when shooting in a specific area, if there's anything that's prohibited, if there are any places that you can't go to, or also if there are any places that are specifically important to that area, because it's good to sometimes incorporate them into your images so that people really have a sense of exactly where they were taken. Now this is all usually done with a Google search. Normally only takes sort of 5, 10, 15 minutes just to have a look and find out if there are any really important things that you need to be aware of. So next up is finding inspiration. Now, having been to New York before and it being one of my favourite places, I already had plenty of inspiration, but you can never get too much. And the first place that I head to when it comes to looking at inspiration is Pinterest. So a simple search on Pinterest, you can look under any number of headings, and that's going to give you a load of inspiration, and that only gets more detailed as you go into specific posts, and it recommends more that are like that, and you can really build up a mood board so that you get an idea of exactly what it is that you're wanting. And if you are shooting with a model, this is really handy where you can either both connect on the same mood board, or you can send them to each other so that you make sure that you're both on the same page when it comes to shooting. Now Pinterest is great for inspiration, however it doesn't always give you specific locations, and this is where I like to jump straight into Instagram. So in Instagram, if you go into the search feature, you can search under tags, people and locations. Now if you go under tags and type in something like New York City photography, that's going to bring up a whole host of posts that have all been given that hashtag. Now when you go into specific posts, you're going to get also the location. And if you click on the location, it's actually going to show it you on a map, so you can see exactly where that post was taken. And this is really, really handy, so you can actually build up spots all over an area where you know that specific shots have been taken, and the ones that you really like, you can make sure that you make a note of that, and that'll lead us on to step 3. So Google Earth and Google Street View are two incredibly useful tools that I use all the time when I'm planning locations for photo shoots. You can use them either desktop, mobile or tablet, and they're all free. They've all got applications. Now the desktop application does have some pro features that the tablet and mobile versions don't have. However, for ease of use, 9 times out of 10 will use the mobile or the iPad version. All of them are free, and as I say, they're very, very easy to use. Now, if you've done step 2 and you've got some locations in mind, what this will allow you to do is get a really accurate representation of what that looks like. So with Google Street View, obviously that's a really detailed view at a ground level where the car's been around with the cameras and you can see exactly what you'll be able to see at street level. However, using Google Earth, you can actually get a 3D representation of exactly what that will look like. Now, I know it's not as detailed as Street View because it's not actual photographs, it's a 3D render, but it's incredible for seeing how high up you are, if there are any obstructions in your way, and also even if you haven't got specific locations in mind, you can simply look at the whole area and just spend time moving through. So especially if this is like a city like I did with New York, you've got a full 3D representation of that, and you can simply move through and look for locations based purely off what you can see on Google Earth. And as I mentioned, what with them being free, what with them being easy to use, they're invaluable tools when it comes to finding a location. Now, even if you've done step 1, 2 and 3 to the best of your ability, there's still nothing that beats step 4, which is scouting in person. Now obviously this isn't always available, but wherever it is, I always find it really useful to actually scout an area ahead of shooting there. Now there are a number of reasons for this. So if we use the New York example, so I knew that I wasn't going to get a lot of time with G because she was very busy. I was on holiday with my missus, so obviously I didn't want to take too much time out of our holiday. So what I did beforehand was I actually spent some time walking around the areas that I was going to be shooting at to make sure that I knew exactly where the angles were, exactly where the shots that I wanted were. I always make sure that there's backups in case the weather changes. That's what you get for living in Sheffield and shooting in Manchester. You're never too far away from a weather change. So having backup locations as well. And a top tip here as well is if you are going to do this, wherever possible, try and do it at the same time that you're going to be shooting, because you get to see exactly what the lighting conditions will be like when you shoot. You can see how low the sun is, you can see if there's anything that blinds you, you can see if there's anything that gives shelter. If you are wanting to use the sun, you can see where you can get a nice flare from the sun but with an interesting background. And by doing this beforehand, it means that when you do go into a shoot, you're comfortable with the location, with where the sun is, with where your shelter is, with where the shade is, and you're not worrying about that. You can simply concentrate on getting the best possible content. So with New York, I went across the Brooklyn Bridge, I went down into Dumbo, I went into the financial district, and because I'd done all of this beforehand, when we were shooting, it was simply a case of, okay, so this is this location, that's that done. Now we're going to go to the next location. Here we're going to shoot here, here and here. And then we're going to move on to the next one, and it means that everything moves a lot quicker, everything's a lot more efficient, and therefore you get more work done. So with New York, I put all 4 of these into practice, and here is the result. And there you have it. So that is my 4-step process to finding locations for photo shoots or just for photography in general. It's not foolproof. You can do bits of this. There are a lot of other ways that you can find locations as well. But for me, this is what's worked, and hopefully it'll work for you as well. So let me know in the comments what your dream location would be. I shot mine. Mine was shooting in Dumbo and on the Brooklyn Bridge, and basically just shooting in New York City. So that's definitely one that I can tick off the bucket list. But let me know in the comments what your dream location would be. I hope that you have found this helpful. Like this video if you have, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.